Okay, this is a broken off black oak, and I'm going to lay it down, but I want to lay it down a little bit to the left. I want it to go that way. I want it to land on the uphill side of that old madrone stump. But it's leaning here. It's actually leaning here. And I want it to fall up here. So I made a hinge cut here, and this works on me sometimes. Sometimes they don't always work. A lot of it depends on the wood and how well the hinge holds, and how well I do the cut. This face cut looks cattywampus, and it's that way on purpose. I got good face holding wood on that side. On this side, I'm going to cut it off first. I'm going to cut the lower side first. I'll bring the saw in like this, go around the back, cut that first. The reason why you want to cut it first is because all that holding wood there will hold the tree up and keep it from pinching your blade at first. You can only go in so far, then you got to swing the saw around the back and cut back to the other side and leave a nice big hinge on that side. And then what'll happen is the tree will, as it starts to come forward, it'll lean against this. This right in here will pinch, and that pressure on there will shove the tree around. It'll shove it around like that. The holding wood will close down here in this cut. The tree will rest against this tight cut. Some guys even will shove a wedge in here after they do the cut, relieve this wood of its holding power. And by having more holding power on this side, it's going to swing it more to the left, which this is forward. The holding wood's on this side, so it'll make it go that way more. Now that's if the hinge wood holds. Sometimes it'll break prematurely, and a lot of factors come in. The type of wood, how much it's leaning. I've seen some wood hold really good. The other day I did one of these and I didn't record it. It was pine. It was a dead pine tree that was about 16 inches in diameter, and I swung it 90 degrees from its lean. It was leaning at, like, say, the lean was 12 o'clock. I laid it down at 9 o'clock. And it was a dead pine, and it blew my mind because usually dead pine wood the hinge wood isn't that good. And for some reason the hinge wood held really good. It was real flexible. I looked at it after I was like, held really good. I wanted to lay it down at like 10 or 11, and it went all the way around to 9. So right there is like 12, that's where it's leaning. And I want to put it down at 10 over here. Okay, I'm going to show you what I did here. I put in what I call this a ventilated hinge. An old logger guy showed me this trick a long time ago. If you predetermine your hinge and pre-slot it, now you got to be careful, because if the grain is going like this and you don't run your saw parallel with the grain, you could totally destroy your hinge. So, you gotta know what you're doing when you do this. So I went straight with the grain, the ridges in the bark, and I laid a slot in there. I call that a ventilated hinge. You can see the light on the other side. Anyways, and I'll show you what I did. Okay. I put the bar in here first. This is the downhill leaning side. It's leaning this way. I put the bar in here, and I did my undercut first. This is the back part of my undercut here, and when you have the saw in here, it can pinch. So what do? Is you just have the tip in there. You don't want to trap the whole thing. And when I'm going in there and I'm thinking, okay, this thing's going to start leaning on my saw, I move the bar back and forth like this so I can feel it. And as soon as I feel resistance, like the tree's starting to come over and pinch a little bit, as soon as you feel a little bit of resistance, pull that thing out of there. Pull it out of there right before it pinches. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bar in here like this. And I'm going to come around to my ventilated hinge. I'll stop a little bit before it, like right here, and see what happens. I'll just keep going slow, and I'll have the bar like this, and hopefully when I get to here, that thing will hold and swing it around. But really, I'm doing this. It's not critical where I'm at right now. If it doesn't work, that's cool, because this is black oak. This is Quercus callagi, California black oak, and I don't think it'll hold that good. It might. It's not the best hinging wood. Like pine and Douglas fir, that stuff holds really good. But especially when it's alive. This stuff, the wood's a little more brittle. Not as bad as madrone. Try hinging a madrone like this. It doesn't work that good. But I've done it, but it's anyways.
Uh-oh, it leaned over into that cut and pinched my saw. Could have been worse though. This oak is really kind of brittle wood. It's not as flexible for holding a hinge like Doug fir would be. It worked okay though. There it goes.
Well, I didn't set it down at 10 o'clock like I wanted to. It went down at like 10:30 or 11. More like 10:30. But it came around. It was leaning that way. And I put it over there.